Welcome to Masters of Product Management, a show that gives you real-world techniques and cutting-edge strategies to learn, apply, and succeed in product management. Now, here's the master himself, Steven Haines.
Welcome back, everyone. Over the past few months, I've focused on the need for speed. Now, whether it's the speed to innovate or the speed to develop or the speed to launch, the speed to release, the speed to make money, everybody wants to go fast. It's been happening for decades. It's going to continue to happen. I will continue to repeat it. It's about going faster. It's about being efficient and things like that. Now, this is on the minds of every senior leader I know. It's on the minds of every product manager. Everybody's frustrated. And especially for people who are working in these larger companies that are continuing their march and toward their digital transformation. And you know, we at Sequent Learning Networks are very, very aware of these challenges. So one of the things that we've observed is fairly straightforward, that the product development process in any company is pretty well known by everybody because it's fairly documented, it's got shape. And even if you're iterating on a new software release, you generally follow a similar set of steps. You write the user story, you develop your feature list, you get it built, you get it out, and you get it out, you test it, go on to the next. But I'm going to tell you something. One of the things that I see as a problem is that we're not really focusing enough. We're not focusing sufficiently enough on the inputs to the user stories themselves. As in, you know, well, this is great. We have a great format. We have a great template. But I got to tell you that what I am seeing is that the outputs are not satisfactory because what's in the user story itself is not necessarily based on what the customer or the user is actually experiencing. So in effect, we're developing user experiences or so-called user experiences that don't really reflect what the customer or that user is trying to do. Now, I got to tell you, as a consumer, I see this, I feel it every day. I don't get it. I try to use a mobile app, doesn't work. I got a button, I got to swipe. It's driving me out of my mind. And I got to believe the people who are creating this software are not paying attention to this. So I'm going to tell you a little story just to give you a little bit of a backdrop. So I was recently delivering our product management essentials workshop at a pretty large financial services firm. There were 4 teams of, let's say, about 5 people each, and each team had to write a real user story for a customer of that company. Now, this is great. Each team worked on the structure of the story, and each team's leader, really, they were proud when they read those stories and the associated feature list that came from those stories, and that was great. But I got to tell you, even though I was calm on the outside, my insides were jumping around. And one of the stories that was told involved a customer service agent and their interaction both with a customer and with the system. Now these product managers, really smart people, and they understood the workflow, and they wrote the user story around that workflow. But when I questioned them and I tried to probe, this is part of the facilitation process, it just wasn't resonating with me. So upon further exploration, what I said, or I discovered, is that they had not actually seen the user or the user interact with the system or listen to the interaction or a set of interactions on a phone. So I challenged the team and I asked them, how did the user feel? And they couldn't get what it was that I was asking for. So I asked with a little bit more urgency in my voice, or imagine a little bit of tone and a little bit of volume. How did the user feel? And I got some blank stares, which was a little bit scary, but I had some passion. And I had a lot of passion in my voice at this point. And I said, you know something? If I were the user, I'd be really mad. I'd be really frustrated. I'd be so mad that I could not help this customer at the other end of the phone because the system was slow and it didn't allow me to do it. And it didn't give me the wherewithal to be an empowered person, which is what my job was as an agent of that company. Now, so if you see this, the story for this user or customer type has got to be built around feelings. And you can't get into a person's feelings unless you see them in reality. You know this. You know this as a human interacting with friends and family and all the relationships you have. So sometimes, it's not necessarily when they're doing work or when they talk about their work, and it's not necessarily about one person, but it's about a group of similar people types doing a similar job, because different people are going to have different experiences, and you have to look at the portfolio of experiences in order to muster what the real insight is. So I'm going to wrap this back around. So when I opened up this short conversation, I said, we're not focusing enough on the inputs. We're not focusing enough on the upfront in-market research of those customers or users. Now, there could be any number of reasons. I don't have time to go see the customers. The sales guys tell me what's going on with the customers. The customers tell me what's going on with themselves, whatever it is. But when I was a product manager, the only thing I wanted to do was go and see them doing their work, because I was always involved in business process automation. So when you're doing that, you have to see what are the steps that people are following, what are the looks on their face, how are they feeling, how they're interacting, and things like that. So I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions to think about, okay? I really think that you need, as product people, to go and see real customers in action. And you need to identify the tasks or whatever activities they're trying to do. And you can sketch it out, you can draw it out, you can do whatever you want, you make storyboards. And there's got to be, for the second point, there's got to be some protocol to do the probing, so that you can dig into the feelings and the thoughts of those users that you're talking to. I like to ask people to describe what they're doing and why, and show me. I want to observe them. I want to figure out how to connect with their feelings and their actions, because that's the stuff that gives you the ammunition that you need to have to convey this story with passion to your team members, especially those who have to implement your feature ideas. And for the third part of this, you got to get to their pain points. Now, this is far easier said than done. I hear the word pain points all the time, and it's almost like it's I'm becoming mute to it because everybody uses the word. Because getting to a pain point is easier said than done. So let's talk about my pain points, and maybe I can convey it this way. One of my pain points, I am impatient. I walk into a Starbucks and the line's too long, I walk out. And that's a pain point that only can be observed at that moment. So if nobody from Starbucks is looking at me, then nobody knows I'm in pain. Nobody sees the look on my face. Nobody looks at the disgust. Nobody. So I've got a pain point, and Starbucks goes and makes great apps, right? So then I go, this is a good one, right? These are true stories. So I try to install the Starbucks app on my phone, and it takes me a while to set it up. I finally set it up, and then it says, well, the last step is we need your zip code. Well, there was no field or place for me to put a zip code. I was in pain. Nobody was looking, and I bailed. And I just went to another store, and I got coffee. And now abandonment for a business is a pain point. I want to stop abandonment. What do I do to stop abandonment? So that's really the gist of what I'm trying to say. So when you say that a customer or a user is trying to do something, you need to be able to say why again, until you are at the root cause. That's the data, right? So anything less, you'll lose the plot and you'll lose the story, and that will lead to useless features. And we don't want useless features. And that's the point of this talk today. So I hope it contributes to a little bit more to your ability to capture the true feelings of your customer in your next user story. So with that, wish you best of luck in creating those new user stories, and tune again next time for other helpful hints on Masters of Product Management. See you next time.
Looking for resources and best practices in product management? Just go to Sequent Learning Networks to gain access to real-world tools that can make a difference. It's all there at sequentlearning.com.